Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska. And the man over there is the Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we're back once again, but unfortunately for Husker fans, we are not talking about a Husker win. Nebraska goes to East Lansing, Michigan, and falls 20-17 to the Michigan State Spartans. Kind of a wild game, especially at the end there with some of the officiating calls. I know a lot of people are going to be talking about the officials in this one, but overall, just a poor performance from the Huskers, in my opinion. Things just didn't really get off to a good start. The defense uncharacteristically didn't have that good start that they usually have come to begin games with. Michigan State kind of had some big plays in the first drive of the game, and it just set the tone. It's like, oh, this is going to be a dogfight up there. I mean, it always is with these two teams recently. But Jay, what did you see from the Huskers?
Well, I think they just came out flat, and that's probably was the most disappointing part about it. I mean, you look, Michigan State, before they had the Mel Tucker situation, was 2-0, and they were looking like a surprise team over there, in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can't think like, oh, well, they didn't have they still had talent. They still revamped their offense and defensive line. It's been something that they put a lot of resources and time into the last 2 years, and those guys are still big and tough and physical, and they were developed essentially for a whole year before, their coach got, obviously suspended and fired. So the foundation of that program is still there. And then they had they got a really good running back in Nick Carter. And then they were kind of just playing ring around the rosy with the quarterbacks. And so they were, came out with some good energy, and, Nebraska just seemed flat in all three phases, and battled back some, but could never just get it going and really, overwhelm them. And so, it was just a disappointing, the fact of what was at stake, and came out a little flat. You knew Michigan State was going to be able to cause you some problems, because quiet as kept, regardless of the yards that they were giving up, and mainly the yards that they were giving up is because they were on the field so long in all their games. Their defensive line and their front seven, and quite frankly, their defense is pretty competitive. And so, it was just, I mean, it's a learning experience, and they got 3 more games, and they can still, obviously make a bowl game, and win a couple more games after that.
The loss puts Nebraska at 5-4 overall, 3-3 in the Big Ten. If you're looking at the Big Ten West standings, Iowa is atop it right now after that game-winning field goal against Northwestern at Wrigley Field. They are 7-2 overall, 4-2 in the conference, and then there is a 3-way tie at number 2 in the West, with Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Nebraska all at 2-3, and then at 2-4 in the conference. You have Illinois and Northwestern, and Purdue is way down at the bottom at 1-5 after getting blown out on the road at Michigan. I'm sure that was an interesting post-game handshake. I'm sure you saw that between Jim Harbaugh and Coach Walters up there at Nebraska. Did you see that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, the Michigan saga or issue is obviously is a lot more serious than when it first came out.
Yeah.
And Coach Walters is a young coach and defensive-minded coach, so he's not going to mince his words, and it's probably something that's been on his chest for a while. And so, when you go against the fabric of the unwritten rule in the game of football, the honor system, and amongst coaches, right? There is a line that generally, as a coach, you won't cross. You're going to get those type of icy handshakes. And this is not anything new to Jim Harbaugh. If you go back to when he was a coach at the 49ers, him and Jim Schwartz, some coaches didn't really want to shake his hand. So it's just one of those deals that, it's a little bit of Harbaugh, and it was a lot of Harbaugh. And then obviously coaches don't feel, at ease playing against them, because you're fighting against 2 opponents, the number 1 or number 2 team in the nation, or number 3, I guess, if you want to go by the polls. But and then are they in your playbook and all that stuff? So it's almost a mental fight of fighting against an unknown opponent based on years of past transgressions.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the Michigan State loss here. Total yards, Nebraska was outgained in total yards by the Spartans by just a little bit, 295 to 277. The Huskers rushed for 148 yards, and they held Michigan State to 63 yards on the ground. But through the air, the Spartans kind of had some big plays through the air with 232 yards against 129 for Nebraska. Another kind of I don't want to say bad game, but just there's such a learning curve at quarterback with Nebraska and Heinrich Harburg. He was 12 of 28 for 129 yards, 2 interceptions. He lost a fumble. So there's a quarterback issue at Nebraska, obviously, and this is just going to have to be addressed in the offseason, and hopefully they can pick up one more win and go bowling for the program. First time in since 2016 that they would be able to do that. But Jay, let's head off to these plays that we were going to break down. We have 5 of them, and I'm really kind of interested in what you're going to say about some of these. But the first one, let's go with Mekhi Bear tracking down this screen. It was in the second quarter with 12:40 left on the play clock, 1st and 10. Now, this is a good game from Michigan State. But again, I really loved what Mekhi Bear showed on this play, and especially Nick Hendrick too. So we're going to highlight Mr. Bear right here, and you're not gonna. Yeah, Nick Hendrick is at the second level. He starts out at the line of scrimmage, and then right before the snap, he goes to the second level. But Jay, take us away. What do you see here?
Right, they're running a little bit of I call it a flex 3-3 look, and you got Mekhi Gaber. He's playing the jack position, and so he's rushing, and then the screen is there against the zone. And this is a play that, it was actually a really good call, because you're blitzing. Nebraska's blitzing from the offense's right side, Nebraska's left, and they're running the screen opposite, and they kind of crack block the first inside defender and had the corner running with the receiver. So this is a little bit of a man defense and a man beater, right? Best zone or best screens are against man, right? I.e., quote unquote, why Michigan against Nebraska a couple years ago, when they're stealing signs, were able to stop it there in a crucial part. But here, when you talk about Mekhi here, right, if you go all the way back to the beginning, right, look where he starts. He starts here. He's rushing upfield, right, and you're getting upfield, and he's playing hard, right. They had a little bit of an inside move right there for him, and it was trying to get Javen Wright in there, getting him going, right, and it's a screen. He sees it. And the best thing you can do from a defensive line or guys that are rushing the passers, come out of the stack and chase the ball, right? And look at Nick Heinrich, right? He gets crack blocked, and then he takes on the block. And then you had Isaac Gifford coming, but this play was made by Nick right here, doing his job, right? Fighting it, getting off the block, giving himself up. That's selfless play right there. That's kind of a hockey assist on a tackle. And then the effort by Mekhi Gaber to go from the left side, essentially the hash mark on the left side of the field, and make the play all the way on the opposite numbers, and it just pure effort, want to. And this is why he's been playing, from the beginning of the year, and that's why you got to give credit to. And then he also he went for the strip, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good job by the Michigan State running back there, and he almost knocked it out, right? This could have been a huge play, right here, a highlight play. You get that fumble, then you got Chief Borders, and then you got Buford there. So I think this is a good effort play. This is how you play team defense. And Michigan State had a good play against a good coverage, and 2 guys that were doing it above and beyond made that play or stopped that play from being an explosive play, right? So you think Nick Heinrich taking out 2 guys, 2 blockers, which is allowed the filler there, which would have been Buford at play side and Gifford backside, to be able to get there and stop it if Gaber didn't get it. So it's just one of those things where, look, this is what you see this year. This is what you grow to expect. And then when you talk about, before we got started, being a little disappointed, it's probably just because how good this defense has played at times. But again, this is positive right here. These are the things that you tell kids, we need this, and this is what we're capable of, play in and play out. We have the depth. We have the guys that play with good energy. And, I think he's been a highlight this year, at least for me, in my perspective, how far he's came, but then also they've given him a chance to find a role within his defense. And he's, in my opinion, has been very successful this year.
Mekhi Bear has been a highlight all season long. Another guy that's been a highlight recently has been Emmett Johnson. Now, I'm sorry, with this box in the top right, again, I can't change that, but this is another solid game, I think, from Emmett Johnson at the running back position. He's starting to find a groove. He's starting to get more confident, and this was a really strong run from Emmett, right?
Yeah, I think every time that he plays, every time he's learning, right? Everything is new to him, and this is kind of like an overload counter power, and then you see him right there making a good cut, right? You get downhill, right? Hits it in the seam, in there, squeeze it in there,
Yeah.
right? Good ball security. And then what he did was he didn't make anybody miss, but the two safeties right there, he's trying to split them. And this is where, he's been coached up really, really well. By the running back coach right here. You hit it downhill, stay tight right off of Borkature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you kind of read the block by Nuri, right? You want to split it and you want to get north and south right there, right? Good look at the ball security right there. And then he was trying to split them right there and then get a couple yards after contact and ball security. Good, what is that, 11-yard run? And
11-yard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so first of all, you want to give it up to the guys that are blocking, right?
Yeah.
They did a good job right here. And this is what you want. The guy hat on hat, guys, staying on their blocks and trying to finish. And then you have a running back that's making them look good, right? It's blocked up. He great read, hits it, gets skinny, and try to get skinny again. And so really good run there by Emmett Johnson. But it starts with the guys up front. It starts with the guys in motion. I think that's Bonner, Borkature, a little bit different way to run it. Good Jenkins there, picking up first sign of darkness there. Mm-hmm. Nuri, Borkature right there. And then the Benhart, got a little bit off of kilter there, but then Emmett Johnson did it, made him miss, and then he can read it right there. Good job, good run right there. That's more than a positive play. If you're a play caller, 1st and 10, coming out of the third quarter, you go downhill for 11 yards. You really feel like you're in a good position to try to take the game over. And so this is what's interesting about this game is, Nebraska could start off a little slow, energy-wise, you're 10-10. And then you bust out with an 11-yard gain right off the rip, man. This is something that these are the things that you start to hold them accountable to a higher percentage, because this is something that they can do, right? Look at this, physical, good pads, way to counter the move or counter right there by Ben Scott, right? Kind of got stood up, but then you see how he tried to fight to get his hands back in there. And that allowed Emmett Johnson to hit it, right? You can't round this off, right? It's essentially downhill dive. It's like, like 11, we used to call this 11 run, really essentially right off the center's butt. You see that right there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to like to stay up the hash, right? And then you want to get back to the hash. And that's where he was trying to do it. So really, really good job by EJ there, or EJ Beathard, by getting guys ready, getting Emmett ready, and then obviously giving confidence to where he can make this right here. This is really improvement. Is probably a little bit more authoritative run versus a couple games ago. Mm-hmm. And that's just letting you know he's getting more comfortable, and the offensive line is getting more comfortable with him.
And somebody else that's getting, another young guy that's getting more comfortable, Cam Lenhart. Cam Lenhart kind of started the season comfortable, it looked like, but he's still learning. Yeah. He had a good start to the season, then faced that injury. Now he's back and he's looking 100%. And I really enjoyed this play from Cam right there. An interior lineman, looks like he's lining up as a 3-tech right there, and splits a double and gets in the backfield for another sack.
Yeah, coming out of high school, I mean, he's been coached well in high school, and it's kind of just ever since he's been on campus, he's just been that guy, right? And so he's taken to Terrence Knighton's, NFL experience, and obviously highly, respected coaching experience.
Yeah.
And look at that, what he's doing right there, a good inside stab, right? And then you kind of swim move and stay tight. Then you get your pad square. And then what we used to call is called run the hoop, right? That means you get, right up to the backfield shoulder and don't get wide in here or getting thrown too deep past the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Right here, good leverage, right? His pads are underneath both those guys. That's how you split a double team. And then you like a guy that can close. And I like that left hand up there because he was going to block the pass, or tip the ball. But then once he got there, he finished the play. So that's a closing. That's a highlight, reel right there. When you see, first of all, it starts with the get off. See, look at the get off right there, and look at what he's doing. He's getting off, and so he's creating pressure to that right guard, right? Mm-hmm. See with the inside stat, he owns him right there, and see, look, he counters off of him. Look at the leverage, kind of a rip under move, just kind of blows right through him right there. A late, come over by the center, and then like the left hand there. This is a teaching tape right there. So I can't speak for Coach Knighton, but this is something where you talk about like a coach's clinic or a recruit, kid, right? That you're recruiting. So listen to this. We can put you at all different types of positions. We got a kid, mm-hmm. That started off really well, battled injuries, came back, and didn't lose a step right here. And it's a big part of the game. Look, Nebraska's losing. I always look at when you make plays, right? Mm-hmm. You gotta have somebody step up, right? Nebraska's losing. You can see that Hauser's starting to be 10-14. And it's the end of the third quarter, so it's time for the defense and defensive players to make a play. And he's one of the guys out there that was doing it, that has been doing it. And then it's good to see him back because he was a big factor before. I think he had like an ankle injury or lower leg injury. And so
Yeah.
this is definitely in the positive right here. And it's good to have him because the more guys you can throw at people, even though it's getting towards the end of the season, and you're going to need everybody to be playing at a high level. And he definitely has been doing it.
You mentioning using this as kind of teaching tape or something that you could show recruits for Terrence Knight, and that just like speaks to just showing guys, especially like Carlon Jones out of Texas,
Right.
a Husker commit, an undersized guy, but he's still playing the interior. He's playing all around the defensive line at Bay City down there in Texas. I just see this play from Cam Lenhart, and I think, Carlon Jones. I know he recently got a Ohio State offer, so that's really cool and exciting for him. So it'll be interesting if he's actually in the Husker class in December. But this play from Cam Lenhart really kind of shows me something that maybe translates to what Carlon Jones, what they're so excited about with Carlon Jones, the Husker staff. So yeah. Let's go with this another play. And, with these Blackshirt breakdowns, we like to show the highlights, the positive ones, but then also some plays that maybe could have been better or maybe weren't as good on Saturday. And this one, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on this. This is a first offensive play, Jay, and it's kind of an outside run here from Josh Fleeks, but I wanted to maybe see a little bit more north and south here towards the end of it. But what did you see? This is a play that Nebraska Marcus Satterfield went to quite often on Saturday
Right.
with Fleeks. So just take it away. What are they attempting to do on this play? First of all, Jay.
Well, this is I don't know if you this is old Vince Lombardi where they talked about the Packer sweep, right? Where they
Okay.
said we want to seal here, seal here, and then we want to hit it up the alley. And so you'd like to get again right up that hash, right off Nuri's
Yeah.
butt, right? You see how
Yeah.
he was going, then he dipped out.
Yeah.
Just that little dip out kind of lessened, maybe 4 or 5 yards. So it really wasn't a bad play because it's positive. It's the first play
Yeah.
of the game, and you
It's
think you
there
get
to
five.
take.
Yeah, so you're right here. You want to read Anthony Grant's block, and you see Nuri. This is good blocking here, even though the Malachi got jacked up against Cal Holiday. But listen, Cal Holiday ain't no
He's an
joke. So
all Big Ten guy.
listen, anybody, but look at Malachi though, recovered though. So you
Yeah.
want to give McGuire, you want to give Malachi Coleman his props, right? He ain't no punk going in here, and it takes some courage as an 18-year-old freshman to go in there and hit a grown man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this: any linebacker that plays with no gloves and no tape, you better be ready for a 4-round fight or a 4-quarter fight.
Yeah.
And give it up to Malachi Coleman. Listen to this right here. You're right. The initial pop, boom. What did he do? Stay on it.
Went
That's
right at him.
improvement. Right. That's improvement, right? So you can't, as a coach, you can't be like, all right, I expect you to pancake him, right? His first play of the game, Cal Holiday said, listen, I'm not playing games, right? Malachi, look, no fair dodging, though. This is what I like. Could you get a little bit lower? Sure. Right? But Cal Holiday is about 5'11". Malachi is a legit 6'4", 6'5". But what I like is his ability to recover and then essentially win that play. Now, what you would like here, as far as Fleeks right here, is to be able to get north and south, at the worst case scenario, up the numbers. And the reason why I say it is because from a defensive perspective, I always looked at where the offensive play is trying to hit. And then you try to stop that. It's good blocking there. I mean, these plays right here that maybe weren't so much highlights, you look at the left side of the line right here, right? Double team, tried to get up to the second level. Number 5 is number 5 is outrunning the left tackle at 6 or 7 yards deep. That's what you want as an offensive play caller. That's why you got to hit it up in there, right? You got Nuri, so Nuri most likely might try to get number 5 if he got good eyes, but he's going for the safety. So that's why you want to be right. See that little gap right there?
Yeah.
Right between that's Doss, or no, that's Grant. Good block by Grant right there. You want to be off Grant's butt, right? Look at that, off Grant's butt, off of Nuri's butt, probably trying to be physical against number 5. So, and again, for number 5 to run away from the left, I mean, look, he can touch anybody. So really, Nuri did a really good job going up to the safety. And so when you go out wider, right, because these guys are kicking these guys out and maybe trying to seal them, right? There's a kick out block by Nuri on whoever he's at, right? You got a pin down right there. And you're going to take this guy where Nuri's at, wherever he wants to go. So he's coming out to fill out outside. So you want to cut right off of Malachi, off of Cale Holiday, because Malachi got a good block. He's still engaged with him. Yeah. So if Cale Holiday makes a one-handed tackle, so be it. I feel like Josh Fleeks is strong enough to get up in there. So really, it's a good positive play, but we could have got 10 yards on that play. And it's probably the hidden yardage that maybe Satterfield and those guys are talking about, because I think it was just a repetition thing. And you know, look, you got good blocking there. You look at Fedoni up there getting the backside block, working. So, you know, really when you start to get the nuances of the plays, I think you become a better football player and a better football team. And so as much as the struggles were at times, you know, when the coaches are saying, man, we're close, like this is legitimately close, versus a coach can't getting up there telling you that we just need to continue to do the same things that we're doing, just need to get better at. This is actual factual. I call this tangible evidence, right? So and also let's go back to Harburg. Look at Harburg tried to get him some. Watch Harburg pump your brakes a little bit, man. You know, watch Harburg try to hit number 9. I don't mean to clown him a little bit, but I hear you, Harburg. He said he had to try to get him some.
Yeah.
And he went up in there, you know, and got pistol whipped a little bit, but he's still standing.
Yeah.
Might not want to pick fights with defensive ends, especially for Michigan State, but all jokes aside, you probably want to get that play is meant to be hit in between the numbers and the hash, right? So right on that big 10, left foot down, upfield. You see that? You see what I mean right there?
Yeah.
It's kind of a you know, it's kind of the old Denver Broncos, a different way of running the different Denver Broncos old zone blocking scheme, just with different characters, right? Outside zone, boom, right up the hill. So, you know, really, to be honest with you, it's when I watch the game differently when you think about this. And as I'm watching it, Marcus Satterfield and those guys have had to kind of patchwork different runs in different ways.
Yeah.
So you want to give them credit that you're being innovative, or you're creative, I guess. You just got to get the execution and the nuances of the plays up to what that, and then because everybody's thinking, oh well, Anthony Grant missed the block. No, he didn't. He got the guy. He got into him. Good block right there on the edges. Right, didn't get a holding. You want to be inside Anthony Grant, right? Look where he's taking him. Boom. Right now, probably if I had to evaluate it, and Anthony Grant needs to have his head on the inside and kick him out. But look, he's just swallowing this dude up right here. This is a good block out in space, right? So you want to make sure you get your body on him, right? You get your body on him, probably hand inside a little bit if we're you know, pulling chin hairs right there. But again, he's knocking him back, right? And then you finish it to the point to where he didn't get, you know, a cheap holding call on a positive run. So
yeah,
just the execution of it needs to be that's the difference in the minor details, and probably, I'm sure, from the coach's perspective, in 10 plays, right? And those are 10. This could have been a very winning play. And so if you hit it up there, right there, see how that dip where he dipped out, you need to dip up in there, and then you probably would have got 4 or 5 more yards.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for this last play that we're going to break down, it's, you know, one of the huge moments of the game. It's the 25-yard touchdown pass that Michigan State backup quarterback Sam Levitt threw. And, you know, I watched the replay. I didn't think it was a touchdown. Sorry, a bird flew in my window over here to my right. But yeah, getting back to this, you know, Jay, what did you see here? Obviously, Nebraska. The pass rush, the 5-man rush does not get home. Quentin Newsome is out on an island alone with Fallon Sanford, the single high safety. It's a good throw. A lot of hand fighting going on. It's a double move from the receiver. But Jay, take us through this one. And first of all, what are your thoughts on the officiating for the game while you're answering this?
First of all, in the officiating, Dean Blandino is paid by the Big Ten, and essentially he is the overseer. He trains the officials, so he's seen the replay. He's able to see it replay wise, and he was emphatic very early that it wasn't a catch. The announcers didn't think it was a catch. Look, when you play against a team that's desperate, you got to understand you got to make them play football, right, and make them play pitch and catch. So they're going to double move you, triple move you.
Okay.
Look, there's no control there, and the ball moved. So really, I'm not really sure how it was a catch. And Phelan Sanford needs to go through the ball, right? You know, instead of
you want him to lay a lick. You want him to lay a hit on.
I want him to go for the ball.
Yep.
And if the guy gets hit, you know, if you go for the ball, you most likely won't get a targeting. He went for the interception, and that's just going to the ball through the man. That's now, granted, we're being very picky here.
Yep.
So, you know, good job. I mean, you'd like to say Newsom don't bite that quick on a slant, you know, right? Don't stop, right? But, you know, you get good recovery, right? Good ball technique, a little quick. You see that little quick push off there by Michigan State, dude?
Yes.
That's all fair. That's all fair and game, right? Right there.
That's just him being physical. He can do that.
Yeah, right there. But it was probably the shove. I mean, to be honest with you, when you see the body jerk like this,
Yeah.
you could probably get an offensive pass interference, right? Because it's a two-hand jet right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you'd like to have better technique on the first initial right there. Then he recovered. Okay, he's pulling, right? So now it's all fair. He wants to get him off. Good, good. He tries to track the ball right there.
Two-hand
Another
shove.
push off. Look at the push off right there, right?
Yep.
Still has his hand in there. Good battle. I don't think it was a catch. I mean, it wasn't a catch. It
No.
just it's just very interesting when you think about that play and the Minnesota play where Dean Blandino, who oversees all these refs, right? That means from my knowledge, they report to him that
Mm-hmm.
your boss says that isn't a catch with replay.
Yeah.
And they quickly did it, and, home field advantage or whatever. I mean, that doesn't look like that's not a catch. That's almost, and so, look, you got to give them credit. They got credit for it. I don't necessarily know if you want to be, I think you're probably, I guess a touchdown is a touchdown, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it was a good route. You would like to see better coverage and better safety help as well. You see Sanford was going for the pick, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got to say, let's make these guys, score. And so I think a change in mentality when you're playing teams like this. One thing is that, Steve, what people don't understand is when you play in any game of football, it's situational football broke down into about 12 to 15 segments, right? And it depends on the score of the game, right? The team that you're playing, and what they're playing for, and the momentum shifts in the game, right? You got a new quarterback in here, a young guy, so you got to know what he's doing. He's trying to make a highlight tape.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't throwing short, right? And if you've seen that against Minnesota, you know exactly what he's doing. He thinks he can throw the ball.
Oh yeah.
He can throw it in a windstorm and put it on the dime. So you got to know who's in there. He's going to try you deep. Now, granted, you'd like the pass rush to be there a little bit.
Yeah.
When you go back and look at it, right? You look, we need to get up the field. We need to start, maybe a little bit wider, as far as that. We got to get in his face. We didn't have any. We had two guys one-on-ones, and maybe it wasn't a good time to run games or something like that because you kind of ran a game that kind of stops it. They're in max protect here, or close to max protection, 3-man route,
Mm-hmm.
right? Good coverage by Omar Brown, locked up down at the bottom. And the safety needs. I mean, this guy didn't even look off to the left. So
No, he knew where he was going.
right. So you got to think that you're there. We talk when we break down high school tapes. What I say? Hit the numbers, hit the sidelines, and cock your head back to the boundary. That's where they're going to pass, to the boundary. They're not going to necessarily try to throw deep first look like that in the red zone to the wide side of the field. And the reason why is you go back to the Minnesota game on the 7 route, right? They were on the other side of the hash, and they threw it to the pylon. That's not a quick developing pass. This is a quick developing, trying to hit you over the top of the head with a double move. So you got to know time, where you're at on the field, whether you're in the boundary, middle of the field, or wide side of the field, and then also know the personnel you're going against. And so at the end of the day, even with that said, better pass rush. You'd like to get in his face. Probably you got two guys too deep, right? And all that stuff. It still wasn't a catch. We could sit up there and nitpick on every little thing, right?
Yep.
I like the call. I like the matchup, right? It's good on good.
Mm-hmm.
And they're allowed to make plays. Now I'll give you credit when you actually catch a touchdown. That's, in my opinion, which obviously doesn't mean anything, where you got a referee right there that's not even bending down and looking, right? He looked like he's thinking about where he's going to get something to eat. He's not tracking the ball in the hands, right? Look at this, and it moves, right?
Yep.
And that's where they always say the ground can't cause you to have an incompletion, but if you don't have complete control of it, and then when Dean Blandino definitely sees it, and he has a better eye for it than me and you,
sure.
and he has the ability to see slow motion, real time, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with what he said. Forget what Jay Foreman said. I'm going to go with what he said. I don't think it was a touchdown.
Absolutely. So it was kind of a disappointing game overall, and just a disappointing game at the end for Husker fans, especially because officiating kind of made a huge impact in the game. But they still had to leave East Lansing with the loss. They have a loss on their record, 5-4 overall, 3-3 in the Big Ten. And now Tulia Tagovailoa and the Maryland Terrapins come to Lincoln, and they can throw the ball around a little bit. They have recently had just kind of a losing stretch here, but They're still a talented offense. You know, they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. They're coming off a 51-15 loss in at home to a really good Penn State team, number 11 in the country. But now they get on a plane and fly to Lincoln. Overall thoughts before we get out of here, Jay? Just quickly on the Terrapins.
Yeah, I mean, you look, they got a veteran quarterback. He knows the system. They got a good running back in Hemby, and they got a couple of receivers. And so, you know, they're going to come and stress your defense. And I think as long as the defense, you know, goes out there and doesn't give up explosive plays that are unearned, that means, you know, busting coverage, I think we'll be okay. And then I think offensively, I think we have got to block like we did, you know, at times, you know, this game and get on these guys. And then as far as the passing game goes, we just got to hit the open guy. There's some guys that are open. We just got to hit them. And so just keep it, you know, putting one foot in front of the other. And Penn State is a lot like Michigan State. They'll probably show up here more confident, think they can get a get back game. But also it's false confidence, because if you punch these guys in the face and from a physical standpoint, and it's not just knocking somebody over, it's consistently being on them and leaning on them, they will break because they are on a losing streak. So they are having false securities based on their insecurities and how they have let themselves down. You got to think, just a few weeks ago, they were looking at a 9-win season. And now they're showing up with a 5-4 record, the same one as us. And essentially both of us are going to be in a dogfight to get that bowl eligible. So I like our chances, especially at home. And I look for the defense to really bounce back this week.
Absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see how Maryland, flying halfway across the country, 11 a.m. game, Central Time. It's just going to be an odd kind of game for them. So, yeah, I think the opportunity is there. The advantage lies with the Huskers being at home and having your opponent fly halfway across the country. So we will see how everything plays out. It's going to be really, really interesting down the stretch here. So for Jay Foreman, I am Steve Marik, and that was a Blackshirt Breakdown, Michigan State style. We'll catch y'all later.